Good morning, everybody. Due to popular demand, and because I'd like to support my colleague Palmer Sample's Cisco Live Source of Truth session, I've started working with NetBox. I'm going to share my screen and show you NetBox, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about what I'm trying to achieve here. So if we go to the screen real quick, and let me get rid of my Twitter feed. So this is the Netbox API Console. And we have all of these various APIs, and I'm working through them sequentially. I've already completed the circuits, so anything with a get has been completed. And I'm working on DCIM. Now, if we just go to the NetBox GUI, and I don't get me wrong, I like the NetBox GUI as much as I like any other GUI, but I don't want to click around and find out what menu things are supposed to be under, and there's a lot going on here in the GUI. Can I use the APIs to create those business-ready documents? So what I've started with is a project called Giftwrap. Now, the Python 3 will not be part of the ultimate end-user experience. They will pip install Giftwrap and just type Giftwrap. But let's do help, and I'll show you what the requirements are. And they're very minimal. So we need the URL for the NetBox. We need a token from the API. And these can be set as environment variables. So you're not going to see me have to type these in because I've already exported them as environment variables. So then we just need the API we want and the file type we want. Now if we look at my code real quick, and we're not going to spend a lot of time looking at the code, I've done, circuit terminations, circuit types, circuits, provider networks, providers, cables, console port templates, console ports, device bay templates, device bays. But let's look at device roles, the one I just did, because it's a very good API for this demonstration. So what we can do, and we can mix and match all, and say give me all the APIs and all the file types, or give me a specific API and all file types, or give me all APIs and a specific file type. But what happens if we don't pick a file type? It's just going to be like Postman almost and display. So, run the code and we're going to say device roles and no file type, which is the default. It's just going to dump it in rich JSON, so nice color-coded JSON, to the screen. Now, if I want that as a JSON file, device roles, JSON, instantaneously. It is so fast, and this is over my cruddy DSL. I can't believe how fast this is. There is the JSON payload, something like you would get in Postman. It's basically using the Python requests library, and it's printing out the JSON. Now let's do YAML. And YAML and JSON actually don't require device roles, YAML. I'm not actually using any Jinja 2 templating for these. There is the YAML, and as you can see, it's a beautiful dictionary for people that maybe don't want to read JSON or want to make a source of truth out of the source of truth, or work with just a straight dictionary that we could key into. So that is what YAML and JSON looks like, and let's take a look at the code real quick. So I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but if they pick JSON file or YAML file, I have little functions for each. And the JSON file just opens and writes the parsed JSON back from the API. For YAML, I YAML dump the JSON load of that JSON, and that gives me the YAML file. Now the other file types, the more business-ready ones, although you could argue those are business-ready as well, they use Jinja 2 templating. So we're going to go device roles, and let's do the CSV. This is the ultimate file in my opinion, and it's instantaneous. So it looks, it's a CSV file, but if we turn on Excel Preview in VS Code, well look, I can search, I can filter out and say only show me core switches, I can see all of the files and sort and filter and find, the slugs, the device count. So patch panels have 19 devices. Application servers have 180 virtual machines, and it is a VM role. Some of these are VM roles. They show the color, the created date, the last time they were updated, and the URL to the resource, which we can follow. Excel ready, business ready, just absolutely incredible. Now, I'm going to just break for a second and show you cables to give you a sense on, right, so cables as CSV instantly. And look at all these cables, right? If I preview this, it's got 58 cables, and we have all of the information about the cables, everything you'd want to know. And if I say I only want to see there's no Cat6 cables, right? Just by using the filter. Or only show me the Cat5 cables. Or only show me certain tenants, right? Or colors. It's just incredible. So back to device roles, and let me just clean up as I go here. Cables, whoops. And so that is the CSV file. Now let's do device roles as a markdown file, instantly created. And it kind of looks a little ugly here until we preview it. But this is what it would look like in a browser or on GitHub, a nice table in Markdown. And you can see the URLs are clickable that will take me to the API itself and the real JSON payload should I need it. And you know, URL is just a tag in Markdown. Now the other thing we can do, and I'm not suggesting this is perfect, but we can use the mark map and look at them as a mind map. Right? So we have our keys here and then each individual layout. Not the best, but good news. We're going to do this next. We can say device roles and do mind map. And mind map creates, you notice how there's a file per role. I didn't want this massive mind map that was basically unusable. So I iterate over each of the results, and like we can see that application servers, there is the mind map just for the application servers. So if I zoom this in, we can see there's our totals, there's our timestamps, the URL is a clickable link, and well, that was a problem, but I'll look into that. But you can see here, it's the device role is ID 7 to display the name. It doesn't have a description, the slug, the totals, the VM role is true, the color, and the timestamps. And we get a mind map per device role. Really like these mind maps for device roles for anything. I can do the same for cables. And we would get a mind map per 58 cables. Now let's do HTML next. Device roles, HTML. Now I really like the HTML because you'll notice here I have a header Jinja 2 template and a footer Jinja 2 template that are universal per HTML page. So if I show you the HTML template, I include my header, I do my standard HTML stuff, and then I include my footer, which transforms the HTML into a data table. Now this is going to take a second to explore, but we have that same search sort filter that we did in VS Code, but in our browser. We have the hyperlinks, the URLs, and, oh, I didn't mean to close that. Let's go back to that. And this is pretty neat. We can reduce the column visibility. So if we don't want the last dated or the created or the color, we can just filter them out as we want them. We can show, you know, all rows if there was more than 10 rows. It's paginated. We could click through the roles. We can search. So let's search for router, right? We can print this table. Boom, it spawns my printer. And I could print this right to my printer and run to my meeting. We could get a PDF of it, right? There's the PDF version. We could get it to Excel ready, an XLS file, a CSV file. I know I have my own CSV function, or we could copy it all to our copy paste buffer. So if I run Notepad and paste, there is the table. Really, really love these data tables, and that's from datatables.net. Now, the last thing I do, and it's similar to the mind map, is I do MP3, so device roles MP3. Now, this takes a little bit of time, not too much, it's still like in the seconds, But you can see I'm creating an audio file per role. So let's look at that application server and listen to the MP3 file.
Giftwrap has transformed the NetBox device role API. The device role ID is 7 with a display of application server and name application server. The description is in slug is application server. There are 2 physical devices and 180 virtual machines for this device role. Is it a VM role? True. The color is 2F6A31. It was created on the 5th of April 2021 T 0 hours 0 minutes and 0 seconds Z and last updated the 5th of April 2021 T 20 hours 52 minutes and 54 seconds. 339,000 Z.
Now the way I look at it is that MP3 files are just another Jinja 2 template. I just have to include the Google text-to-speech. So let me show you the little bit of code that this takes to make an MP3 file. It's not that heavy, right? So I set my path to my Jinja template. I set my Jinja template. I get the results as JSON. I set my language to US English. And then for each result in my JSON results, I feed the data to the template. And then I make an MP3 equals Google text-to-speech, that templated output. Then I save my MP3 file. And then I just print out to the screen that they've all been created. Just a tiny little bit of code to make NetBox, what I like to say, accessible. It's accessible to people that are visually impaired, have learning disabilities, don't enjoy reading heavy text, if you just want the audio version of the NetBox data. So, JSON, YAML, data table HTML, CSV file, markdown file, a mind map per result, and an MP3 per result is going to be the base release. In the longer term, once I get through all of the APIs, I'll have a release, an early release of those core files, but I'm going to add network graphs, I'm going to add mermaid markdown. There's still more to be done here, but for the interest of just getting started, I started with those base set of files. This will be available on PyPy very soon. I hope to get DCIM completed, and then I will package up a release on PyPy where you just say pip install Giftwrap, run Giftwrap, URL, token, API you want, file type you want, boom. Now just to show, let's do all and all real quickly. Let's do Giftwrap and I'll show you all APIs, all file types. And I just sit here and it's just going to crank out business ready files, mind maps, HTML files, MP3 files. There's circuit terminations. The first one is done and it's making the MP3 file per circuit termination. But circuit terminations was instantaneous, the business ready. The MP3 files take a little bit of compute processing to generate. But I just say all in all, and it's just going to fully document my NetBox. Now, one thing that you might not think of immediately in your head when you're looking at this is that aside from the HTML or the MP3 files, it's all plain text. It's all plain text. There's no database to query. There's no database to maintain. I don't need a database container or anything. This leads to GitOps. GitOps. Make a Git repository. Run Giftwrap every hour, every 4 hours, every night. Right? Make that a push, make that a commit, and then you'll have the differentials. Where did this circuit go? Where did this device go? Check the Git history, and it will show you the time when it was in and when it was lost. Really enhancing your source of truth. I have several people to thank. Really, I owe Palmer Sample a big thank you for providing me a NetBox, and Jordan from NS1, who provided me the public sandbox. So you can sign into a NetBox publicly. You can create your own API key. You can start doing development with NetBox, even if you don't have it on-prem or ready to go. So I really want to thank them and everybody who every time I show a CSV file says, when are you doing NetBox? When is NetBox coming? Can you get to NetBox? I've been hounded about this NetBox capability for about a year now. And the API is wonderful. My code is dry. I don't have to handle any special exceptions. The APIs are nice and uniform. Most of the fields are the same in the same order. I don't have to write a lot of fresh code. I'm just cranking out API after API because it is so easy to work with. And as you see, it's extremely fast. So there's going to be a lot more coming. I'm going to hopefully get a release out by the end of the weekend. We'll see. But I just wanted to show you what's coming. A product called Giftwrap for your NetBox. Stay tuned and we'll see you soon. Thanks for your interest.